Salutations everybody, it is Matty here today, and I want to start off this video by thanking you all. E-hugs for everybody. Look, last month we launched our first ever top 5 RPGs of the month for July, and I thought, hey, this is just a cool little experiment, but the reception was so positive, a lot of you really liked the format, that you said, do some more. So we're going to be doing this every single month to start it off. So let's get into the top 5 new RPGs for August 2021. We have a really good selection this time around, so let's get into it, starting off with one that really caught my eye, so much so that I gotta play this one. Black Book. Black Book is a game that's releasing August 10th on PC, PlayStation, Switch, and Xbox for $25. Now, if you want to know one little fun fact about your boy, I love card games. Like, I collect Pokemon cards, but I play Dragon Ball Super, the card game, so much. I love Magic Gathering Arena on PC. Like, I love card games. I love Slay the Spire. And then when you can fuse all of that into an RPG, now we're talking. Black Book has unmistakably a eerie, creepy atmosphere to it. It manages to channel a little bit of that Death's Door energy in there, right? We talked about minimalistic design. We see a little bit of that here, but more than anything, this is a card-based RPG fused with adventure games where you can actually play the prologue right now on Steam to get a feel for things, see if you like it. This is a rare thing in our industry. Take advantage when there are demos because we want more of them as consumers. We want to see the thing that we're buying. So take full advantage. It's about 45 minutes to an hour if you want to try it out. Continuing onwards, this is based on Slavic myths where you play as a young girl by the name of Vasilisa whose beloved died, and now she's seeking out the Black Book in order to bring back what she has lost. And so it's a very dark tale. It seems very moody, and this one really caught my attention, where I gotta be honest, as we go through this list, I want to play all of these. The indie game is absolutely killing it, and unmistakably a lot of you have never heard of these games, so let's keep the fun times rolling. Moving into our second game, this one is Baldo, the Guardian Owls, which releases August 27th for Switch, Xbox, PlayStation, and PC for, once again, the price of $25. So plot twist here, Baldo is this man's got hair. It's pretty crazy, right? I laughed when I saw this name. I was like, this is a kid's game, right? Baldo. What is this? This game, once again, it's on the list now. I looked at it and went, okay. Never judge a book by its cover, all right? Or assume a man has no hair when he goes by the name of Baldo. But anyway, what is the point of Baldo? Well, first and foremost is the art style. The art style oozes that Ni no Kuni energy. I even got a little bit of Dragon Quest vibes from this one. But more than anything, the best way to define this game in a too long didn't read form is The Legend of Zelda meets Ni no Kuni. This game looks excellent. There's an eccentric cast of characters which looks loaded with personality because of all the animation and the art style really lifting that up. Just like any other RPG, you'll be sifting through your equipment, adjusting that. You can collect it as you go along. There's a myriad of puzzles, a la, of course, Breath of the Wild, really, because it's a slower paced open world experience with less stat progression and more equipment-based progression, which still slots it into the RPG category. But when you really look at some of the gameplay and the creative ways that you can tackle the puzzles, but yet blending in that Ni no Kuni style game like Studio Ghibli had their hands on it, I love what I'm seeing from Baldo, even if I'm not crazy about the name. Baldo looks legit, and what's interesting is these two games here seem so awesome, seem so unique, and they've just been quietly coasting under the radar, and it blows my mind because they both look so fantastic. But do keep in mind, Baldo is an open world game. I know some of you out there are a little spotty about that. These are big time sinks typically. We'll see when reviews come out just how long they are. But yeah, Baldo is open world, so keep that in mind, whereas something like Black Book is a little more tightly knit. On the side note, when it comes to the story with Baldo, is that any descriptions I read on the game for Steam or on the Nintendo Switch page or previews didn't really allude to what the story was about. It's more so about uncovering the world, unraveling its mysteries, which I think plays a factor into the dungeons and the puzzles, and it overall makes sense. So there's not much on that front. It's more so selling itself on its art style and its concept and its mimicry, if you will. Third game, however, once again, awesome, Dreamscaper. This is one I saw and went, really? No one told me about this one. Okay. let's get into it. So this is coming out right now. It's available right now. It exited early access this month, so some of you already may be familiar with this one. It's on PC and Switch for, it seems like, the very common price tag of indie games nowadays, $25, where you dream, die, wake, repeat endlessly in this roguelike game filled with items, equipment, and abilities. Now, you all know me. There's one thing I love in my games. It's social elements. It's life sim elements. And when you blend it with what looks like beautiful action combat, you're lighting my fire. There's just something about that. I think deep down I miss school a little bit, but I know if I went back to school, I would be like, this sucks. I remember why I hated it. So I just like to have the pure memories of that. And so in this game, you're able to go out into the world, build relationships, and this is where you're going to get all of your upgrades done, and then you'll go to bed at night. And that's where you fight in your deep subconscious all the things that the protagonist Cassidy is struggling with. So bosses, kind of like what I talked about in my Psychonauts 2 preview, represent true mental health issues or struggles that all of us go through. So one of the bosses was under the name of isolation. This is something that many of us have really fought with before. And I think when you key into those themes, that synergy with really mental health helps lift these games up to another level. But more than anything, even if you ignore all of that, this game standing on its own from a gameplay front looks fantastic. And I really like how it's based off of the life of this girl, and she's going out doing her thing, creating relationships, and there's a reason the roguelike exists. It's not just, hey, we're creating an endless dungeon crawler. Have fun. There's something there narratively where something like Hades, it eventually does get to that end point, and that's something that I really do appreciate about games crafted in this manner. Game number 4, it is the year of the dodgeball. We got ourselves Knockout City, kind of came and went. It's on Game Pass. Then Dodgeball Academia. What? So Dodgeball Academia is out now as well on Switch, PC, PlayStation, and Xbox for the familiar price tag of $25. So you play as a rookie dodgeball student by the name of Otto in an attempt to dominate tournaments in this unique action RPG. So as you can see, you're sort of on the court out there, throwing the dodgeball around. There's all different types of skills, moves that you can do, but it's in a dodgeball setting. I gotta make the craziest comparison. It's like Mega Man Battle Network if it were a dodgeball game with no grids. It's so wild and ridiculous, but I really liked what I saw for it. And also, it's a little more light and easy for those of you out there who are looking for something tighter, because reviews are out for this game, and the general consensus is this will take you about 8 to 10 hours to complete. That is doing the optional quests that it's offering. There's a ton of them. There's plenty of main missions to take on. But more than anything is that there's a lot of stat progressions, fine-tuning for your party to make sure that all the stats you're building, whether it be strength or endurance, are properly assorted to the playstyle of the characters that are in your party, as many good RPGs do. But more than anything, I wanted to shout out this game because it's just such a unique idea. We don't really see dodgeball action RPGs. In fact, I think every single game on this list so far just stands in a league of its own, doing so many unique ideas that, hey, shout out to the indie scene. They are killing it this summer. I don't know if all of these games will be slam dunks. This game reviewed well. Dreamscaper reviewed well. So, hey, maybe we're in for a good season here, but we'll see in due time. With that, let's get into our 5th and final RPG for the month of August. Now, there were other games I was looking at in August for a top 5, but I did want to shout one out that came out at the tail end of July, but we didn't mention in our top 5 July RPGs, where I was like, hey, last but certainly not least is a game I've talked a lot about. I've had some thoughts on. It's available now. It's a day 1 Game Pass game. It's a twin stick shooter, and it goes by the name of The Ascent, which is available for the price tag of around $25 if you're a Game Pass Ultimate subscriber, but this is on the Xbox family of systems exclusively alongside PC. Now, if you're looking at this game as someone who has played and completed it, my suggestion would be this is a Game Pass download. But if you're looking for a good co-op driven action RPG experience, The Ascent may be where it's at. You will be exploring a cyberpunk dystopian setting, which is absolutely jaw-dropping gorgeous, with one of the most dense color palettes I've seen in a game. For a 12-man team, the amount of assets in this game visually across the board is stunning. There is so much diversity in the locations. It does not come without its hangups. I have to be honest with you all. As someone who completed it, I have a lot of issues with it, from its single-player balancing to its zones in the game. Even with the taxi system and the train system, traveling to and fro from locations is really long-winded and stretches out your experience. I do think that the story sits way too far in the background for what is such an interesting, rich world with a dense codex, but at its bare minimum, you have a solid twin-stick shooting action RPG with a cool world to explore, lots of variety in your gameplay builds, as you can do different augmentations like a hammer fist, or you can shoot out a neutron beam, you can drop out a personal robot who's going to fight alongside you, spider bots. You can augment modules so you can do more healing, speedy recovery. There's also skills that you can gradually scale up. I mean, there is a lot happening here on the RPG front. I do think the game has a bit of an identity crisis in deciding what it wants to be. It didn't really go all in on its loot, all in on its skill system, all in on the twin stick shooter nature up until the end of the game, where it really does ramp up. It doesn't seem to decide so fully what it's exactly going to do. So it does a lot of things all right or decently, and for some even excellently. It feels like the outlier in a lot of ways when it comes to the Ascent. But I will say, as I've seen more of my audience play it and more people engage with it and get deeper into the game, it does start to show the issues I was alluding to in my preview. With that said, to me, it's not an outright pass. It's probably more of a wait for a sale, but I did want to shout it out here because it is a pretty rare exclusive for Xbox. It is a unique game trying some new things, and overall, it has enough fun in it to make me say, yeah, go ahead and give it a look. It's an easy buy-in with Game Pass amongst all these other, which are in the $25 area and have no alternative ways to approach them. At least with the Ascent, you have that. So, those are the top 5 RPGs of August 2021. Are any games that I shouted out here standing out to you? Let me know in the comments down below. I want to know what's really catching your eyes with these types of games, so I know how to filter our list each and every single month. And until then, I'll see you guys with the top 5 RPGs for September 2021. So keep them eyes peeled. And until then, stay sexy, stay active. I love you all. Peace.